If your paycheck dies 48 hours after payday, you are not the problem, the system is. You're told to just budget better, while rent eats half your income, groceries feel like luxury items, and one unplanned bill wipes out an entire month. On paper, you earn enough. In real life, your money evaporates faster than your free time. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most budgeting advice was built for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Generic tips like skip lattes don't help when you're already skipping half the things you want and some of the things you actually need. You don't need guilt, you need a game plan that works in this economy, on your income, right now. In this video, we're going to walk through 10 proven ways to budget on a low income that don't rely on fairy tale salaries or unrealistic discipline. These are practical, street-level strategies real people are using to keep the lights on, pay down debt, and still have a life. Welcome to the channel. I'm your virtual finance navigator, here to help you stop feeling broke and start feeling in control, no matter what your paycheck looks like. If you're tired of feeling like your money owns you instead of the other way around, stick with me to the end of this video. Hit that like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because this might be the most important money conversation you have all year. Number 10. Face the numbers, not your feelings. The reality check budget. On a low income, money isn't just math. It's emotions, stress, pride, embarrassment, and a little bit of, I don't want to think about it right now. The reality check budget is where all of that steps aside and the calculator takes the mic. It's not glamorous, but it's where real change starts. This is the moment you stop guessing and start knowing. No more, I think I spent about and it should be enough. You pull up your bank statements, paycheck stubs, credit card history, Cash App, Zelle, all of it. Every swipe, tap, and I'll pay later gets dragged into the light. Rent, groceries, gas, subscriptions, takeout, random late fees, everything. It's not always fun, but it's honest. You're not doing this to beat yourself up. You're doing it to see the truth, what your income really is, what your non-negotiables are, and where your money is quietly sneaking off. On a low income, leaks in the budget hurt more. One unnoticed $40 here and $25 there can be the difference between I'm fine and why am I overdrafted again? The reality check budget asks hard but necessary questions. What are your true fixed costs, not the ones you hope they are? Are you funding needs or numbing stress? Which expenses align with your priorities and which just follow your mood? Then you build from reality, not fantasy. You match every dollar of income to a job, bills, food, minimum debt payments, transportation, savings, even if tiny, and then lifestyle. Feelings have a place, but they don't get to run the spreadsheet. Here's the magic. Once you face the numbers, the anxiety starts to shrink. You're no longer scared of your balance because you actually understand it. Instead of saying, I'm bad with money, you start saying, I know where my money goes, and I'm changing the script. The reality check budget doesn't judge you, it simply tells the truth. And once you have the truth, you can finally build a plan that fits your real life, not the one you wish you had. Number 9. Track every dollar for 30 days. The awareness audit. Before any fancy budgeting method works, you need one uncomfortable truth. You can't manage what you refuse to look at. Tracking every dollar for 30 days is like turning the lights on in a messy room. The mess doesn't appear because of the light, you just finally see it. On a low income, guesswork is expensive. That I think I spend about mindset is how $8 coffees, late-night food apps, and random convenience store runs quietly hijack your paycheck. A 30-day awareness audit forces your money to confess. Every card swipe, cash purchase, and auto debit gets written down or logged in an app. No exceptions. If your money leaves, it gets recorded. At first it feels annoying, then it gets interesting. Patterns start popping up. You notice you've basically been sponsoring your favorite fast food chain. You see how just $9.99 subscriptions stack up like unpaid parking tickets. You realize your small daily habits are bigger than any one-time splurge. The goal here is not guilt, it's clarity. When you see the truth on paper, decisions get easier. You don't have to wonder where to cut. Your spending report literally points to the leaks. That $120 a month going to things you don't even enjoy anymore? That's not poverty, that's opportunity. Once the 30 days are done, you're not guessing. You have real numbers, real averages, and real categories. That becomes the foundation of your budget. You're no longer budgeting based on vibes and memory, you're budgeting based on reality. On a low income, awareness is a form of power. The 30-day awareness audit might not feel glamorous, but it quietly becomes the moment your money story starts to change, not because you earned more, but because you finally saw exactly where it was going. Number 8. Protect the essentials first. The survival mode priority budget. When money is tight, you don't need a cute budget. You need a priority system. And in that system, the essentials always go first. Not vibes, not guilt, not other people's expectations. The basics: food, shelter, utilities, and necessary transportation. Too many people on low incomes try to pay everything and end up paying nothing well. They scatter money across bills like confetti, hoping goodwill and effort will somehow stop late fees. Companies don't reward effort, they reward cleared balances. A survival mode budget flips the script. You pay in order of what keeps you safe and functioning: rent or mortgage, lights and water, basic groceries, transport to work or income sources. Those are non-negotiable. Credit cards, personal loans, and nice-to-have bills line up behind them like everyone else. Does that mean some things might go late while you stabilize? Yes, and that's still better than risking eviction, hunger, or losing your job because you can't get there. This approach also forces honest conversations. You quickly see if your living situation is too expensive, if your car is eating your future, or if "I have no money" really means "I'm paying for too many things that aren't essential." It cuts through emotional noise and exposes the math. Protecting essentials doesn't mean you're irresponsible, it means you're strategic. You are choosing to keep your life intact first, then negotiate, call creditors, and set up payment plans for the rest. And guess what? Many companies would rather work out a plan than watch you collapse financially. A low income doesn't give you much room for mistakes. That's exactly why a survival mode priority budget becomes powerful. It keeps the foundation standing so you can actually build something on top of it later, instead of constantly rebuilding from disaster. Number 7. Slash the silent bills. Kill subscriptions and money leaks. If your bank statement could talk, it would probably whisper you're paying for stuff you forgot you even had. Silent bills are the sneakiest enemies of a low-income budget. They don't shout like rent or car payments. They quietly auto-debit and keep moving. Subscriptions, memberships, random apps, free trials that were never really free. On a low income, $5 here and $12 there is no big deal. That's grocery money, bus fare, or part of a bill. The problem is that silent bills feel harmless because they're small and automatic. But small and automatic is exactly how money disappears without your permission. Start by pulling your last 2 or 3 bank statements and going line by line. Look for anything recurring: streaming services you barely watch, gym memberships you spiritually support but physically avoid, pro versions of apps you never use beyond basic features. Group all of these into one category: things that want your money more than you want their service. Then be ruthless. On a low income, your budget is not a democracy, it's a benevolent dictatorship. Cancel what isn't essential or genuinely adding value. Downgrade where you can. Share plans with family if it makes sense. The goal here is not to deprive yourself of every little joy, but to stop funding habits and services you're not actually using. You'd be surprised how quickly the freed-up cash adds up. That extra $40 to $80 per month can go toward debt, savings, or covering essentials without panic. And the best part? Once you cancel, the money stays with you automatically. You don't have to remember to save it, the leak is just gone. Silent bills thrive on inattention. When you shine a light on them, your low-income budget suddenly gets breathing room, not because your income grew, but because you finally stopped paying for a life you don't even live. Number 6. Shrink the big 3: housing, transport, and food on a low income. When you're budgeting on a low income, obsessing over lattes while paying half your income on rent is like arguing over fries while your car is on fire. The real action is in the big three: housing, transportation, and food. These three categories quietly swallow most of your paycheck. Start with housing. If rent or mortgage is eating more than 30 to 35% of your take-home pay, your budget is fighting uphill every month. That doesn't mean you can snap your fingers and move tomorrow, but it does mean you should treat housing as a strategic decision, not just a preference. Roommates, downsizing, relocating to a cheaper area, or negotiating your lease aren't glamorous, but neither is being perpetually broke. Next is transportation. A flashy car with a payment, high insurance, and brutal gas consumption is not a flex on a low income. It's a handbrake on your future. Sometimes the smartest upgrade is actually a cheaper, reliable car, public transit, or carpooling. Your ego might struggle, but your budget will breathe. Then there's food, the category that pretends to be innocent. Eating out, convenience meals, and impulse snacks are where good intentions go to die. Cooking at home, meal prepping, buying in bulk, and keeping simple, repeatable meals can cut this cost dramatically. You don't need to become a food influencer, just someone who knows how to feed themselves without paying restaurant rent. The magic of shrinking the big three is leverage. Saving $150 a month on housing, $80 on transportation, and $100 on food beats agonizing over $3 purchases. On a low income, even moderate changes in these areas can completely change your month. You don't have to be perfect. But if you're serious about budgeting in 2026 America, focusing on the big three is where real progress starts, not in arguing with yourself over a $2 snack. Number 5. Use cash envelopes for problem categories. Sometimes the problem isn't that you have no budget, it's that your self-control collapses the second your card hits the reader. That's where cash envelopes step in, not as a cute old-school trick, but as a serious tool for low-income discipline. Cash envelopes work best for categories where you consistently overspend: groceries, eating out, snacks, personal spending, or household items. You decide in advance how much money each category gets for the week or month, withdraw that amount in cash, and put it in labeled envelopes. When the envelope is empty, that category is done. No, just one more swipe. On a low income, this is powerful because it forces real-time decisions. When you can physically see the cash shrinking, grabbing random extras suddenly feels different. You start asking, is this worth envelope money? That question alone saves more than most people realize. It also gives you built-in accountability. You can't overspend the envelope without breaking your own rules, and the visual limit is more honest than your mental math. If you run out halfway through the month, that's not failure, that's feedback. Your numbers were unrealistic or your habits need adjusting. Either way, you now have data, not just disappointment. Will it feel inconvenient? Sure, that's part of why it works. Convenience is what got a lot of budgets into trouble in the first place. On a low income, you can't afford to make overspending effortless. You need a little friction between you and unnecessary purchases. Cash envelopes aren't forever, but using them for a few months can retrain your spending reflexes, help you find realistic numbers for your categories, and prove to you that yes, you actually can stay within limits once those limits are visible and real. Number 4. Give every dollar a job. Zero-based budgeting. On a low income, leftover money is a myth. If you don't tell your money where to go, life will assign it a job you don't like. Zero-based budgeting solves that by giving every single dollar a job before the month even starts. Here's how it works. You start with your actual income for the month, not what you wish it were. Then you assign every dollar to a category: essentials, debt, food, transport, savings, fun, yes, even on a low income, and anything else that matters. You keep assigning until your income minus expenses equals 0. Not because you're broke, because every dollar has a purpose. This mindset is a game changer. Instead of saying, I'll save whatever's left, you're saying, this amount is going to savings, on purpose. Instead of hoping spending doesn't get out of control, you're deciding ahead of time how much is allowed in each lane. Zero-based budgeting also exposes your priorities. If your budget says you have more going to non-essentials than rent, something's off. If there's no room for savings or debt reduction at all, that's not a reason to give up. It's a signal that your income needs boosting or your fixed expenses need adjusting. The beauty of this method in 2026 America is its flexibility. Gig work, variable hours, and inconsistent paychecks are common now. Zero-based budgeting can adapt. You can build a basic skeleton budget, then adjust allocations as each paycheck comes in. This isn't about being perfect. Some months will punch you in the face with surprise expenses. But with zero-based budgeting, at least you're stepping into the ring with a plan, not just vibes and prayer. Number 3, automate what you can't trust yourself with. Discipline is great. Automation is better. On a low income, you don't have the luxury of forgetting to pay a bill or meant to move money to savings. The less you rely on willpower, the smoother your budget runs. Start by automating your non-negotiables, rent or mortgage where possible, utilities, minimum debt payments, and basic savings. Set them to draft right after your paycheck hits. That way, money goes to the right places before your brain starts negotiating with your wants. Next, automate micro-savings if you can, even small weekly or per paycheck transfers. The amount doesn't have to be impressive, the habit does. On a low income, $10 or $20 set aside consistently can be the difference between unexpected bill equals crisis and unexpected bill equals annoying but manageable. Automation also reduces late fees, which are just penalties for not being organized. When you're already working with limited income, the last thing you need is to tip extra cash into the oops bucket. Does this mean you stop paying attention? Absolutely not. Automation is not autopilot. You still review your accounts weekly, adjust when your income changes, and pause or tweak transfers if your situation shifts. But automation removes the constant decision fatigue. Think of it like this. Future you is tired. They've worked all day, they're stressed, and they really don't want to make smart choices at 11 p.m. Automation steps in and says, "Relax, I already handled that." On a low income, your budget doesn't just need good intentions, it needs systems. And automation is one of the cheapest, smartest systems you can create. Number 2, turn extra income into a plan, not a party. Side hustles, overtime, tax refunds, bonuses, random cash. Extra income is where a lot of low-income progress is quietly won or lost. Without a plan, that money disappears faster than your patience on hold with customer service. With a plan, it becomes a fast-track tool. The problem is that extra money doesn't feel real. Your brain treats it like free money, even though it's very real and very needed. That's how people hustle all weekend, then wake up Monday asking, "Where did all that money go?" So you build a rule: every extra dollar has a job before it arrives. For example, you might decide 50% of any extra income goes to debt, 30% to savings, and 20% to guilt-free spending. Or you might target one specific goal until it's done: a starter emergency fund, paying off one card, or catching up on a bill. Now, when extra money comes in, you're not making emotional decisions in the moment. You're following a system you already agreed to when you were calm and thinking long-term. That's where real progress happens. This doesn't mean you never enjoy your extra income. In fact, building a little fun into the plan helps you stick to it. But the fun is within boundaries, not in charge. On a low income, extra income is too valuable to waste on random. You worked for it. You sacrificed time and energy for it. Turning it into a plan instead of a party is how you make sure those sacrifices actually change something in your life, instead of just temporarily upgrading your weekend. Number 1. Live for future you. The 12-month vision budget. Most budgets only look 1 month ahead. That's fine for survival. But if you want to move from surviving to progressing, even on a low income, you need to zoom out. That's where the 12-month vision budget comes in. Instead of asking, "How do I make it through this month?" you start asking, Where do I want to be 1 year from now, and what has to change starting now to get there? That shift is huge. It pulls you out of permanent emergency mode and into intentional living. You start by defining realistic goals for the next 12 months, paying off a specific debt, saving a certain amount, moving to a cheaper place, building a $1,000 cushion, or finally getting one major bill under control. Then you reverse engineer monthly targets from those goals. Suddenly, your monthly budget isn't just about surviving, it's about contributing to something bigger. That $40 you saved from cutting subscriptions isn't just extra anymore, it's the reason future you has an emergency fund. That $60 a month you consistently throw at one small debt becomes the reason you're less stressed a year from now. A 12-month vision budget also helps you anticipate known surprises: car registration, back-to-school costs, holidays, insurance renewals. Instead of letting them sucker punch your budget, you divide them into smaller monthly amounts and start saving now. Living for future you doesn't mean you never enjoy today. It means you stop sacrificing the next 5 years for a 5-minute impulse. On a low income, you may not control everything, but you can control the direction you're moving in. Your income might be limited, but your strategy doesn't have to be. A 12-month vision budget gives your money a story that goes beyond this week, a story where future you looks back and says, "I'm glad we started when things were tight, not when it was finally convenient." We are down to number 1 through the countdown. If you've stayed with this countdown from number 10 all the way to number 1, you've done more than watch a budgeting video. You've just walked through a complete mindset and strategy shift for surviving on a low income in America and slowly turning survival into stability. You've seen how facing the numbers, protecting the essentials, killing silent bills, shrinking the big 3, using cash envelopes, giving every dollar a job, automating smart moves, planning extra income, and living for future you all connect. None of these steps are magic, but together they're powerful. Thank you for watching and investing your time in your own financial future. If this breakdown helped you see money differently, especially on a low income, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who needs a realistic plan, not fairy tale advice. Drop a comment with the strategy you're starting this week, and I'll see you in the next video where we keep building a money plan that actually fits your real life.